was fortunate enough to be in the West Coast Men's Mennonite Choir, and we raised money for disaster services, particularly for Paradise, the Concal area, which had a disastrous fire in 2018. We raised over $33,000, and our goal was only $30,000, so we did very well. We went there in October last year, 2021, for 4 weeks.
The campfire in Paradise was in November of 2018. It was so big that 85 people were killed, 95% of the structures were destroyed, with a total of $16.5 billion worth of damage.
As you can see, and I'm sure you're aware if you live on the West Coast, the devastating fires were horrendous. Very little's left, standing timber maybe. The campfire itself burned over 150,000 acres and leveled more than 18,000 buildings, displaced many families, some who didn't have insurance to rebuild.
We're teams of people that come from all around the United States, and this is a group that we had that got together. We're called RVers because we bring our own RV trailers to work on, and we work on teams that need to be done, things that need to be done there.
We work for 4 weeks, and we work a 4-day week of 6 hours each day, and we work with other people. In this case, it was Carol's brother and sister and brother-in-law, and another couple.
You can see there that in the center, that's where Cheryl Lee was living while we were building her house, so she could see what we were doing as she lived in her little trailer that she had been in for quite a while, a couple of years, I think, already waiting for a house to be built.
So each day she got to see our progress, which I'm sure buoyed her spirits and lifted her confidence in what we were doing even.
I interviewed her to see exactly what happened on the day that she was found that her house that she was in was burning, so I'd like to read the words that came exactly from her. Everything was on fire, even the grass. There was fire everywhere. There were fireballs coming down from the tops of the trees. I had suffered a stroke, so it was difficult for me to walk. We put blankets on our shoulders and ran up a dog trail. A vehicle was right there. The man in the vehicle had burned to death. We couldn't get out that way. I was carrying my dogs in a carrier. It broke and the dogs got out and they were burned. We could hear people screaming. They were jumping into the lake. Vehicles were on fire in between. I don't think I will ever forget the god-awful screaming. The vehicles were backed up on Concal Road. People had to get out of the vehicles and run and jump into the lake. It was so hot my son's shoes were starting to melt. Out of nowhere, a vehicle came. My son got in front of the vehicle and they stopped. Inside, the truck was jammed with people. My son pulled me up into the back of the truck. It was burning on both sides. It was like an inferno. Suddenly, we broke out of the fire and went to the assembly area.
As volunteers, we painted, installed siding, put up insulation, and helped with sheetrock installation. And overall, it was a team effort. We had different levels of experience, and some things we learned new skills in the process.
Yeah, I even learned to use a nail gun, and that was quite an interesting experience to do, and it was a lot of fun.
Added bonus was serving with Carol's sister and brother-in-law and strengthening our relationships through the service together.
We had an RV site that all of us were at. It was actually one that was very nice, but it had burned down, and so they all had that put in. There was electricity and water and the sewer system, and so that luckily we had our RVs and we were able to stay in them and have a nice, comfortable time while we were there.
March 25th this year, we went back and dedicated Shirley's home. It was a very rewarding experience. And everybody involved, not just the RVers, but the people who were in charge back in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Latisse, Pennsylvania, as well as the committees that are out here and deal with disasters firsthand, and start the process until we come on the scene and complete the finished home.
They were given a Bible and
wall
hanging that someone had made for them. We sang songs and we prayed, and it was a wonderful experience. And here was her home, finished with this kitchen, a living room, dining room, bathrooms, a neat place, all finished, and she was able to move into her place.
We'd like to thank you for supporting what we did there in Paradise Concal area. We're blessed to have your prayers and your support. We appreciate it, as well as Shirley, I'm sure. She was overwhelmed by all the working hands and all the interest in getting her back into a new home. Thank you.